You think training 2 to 3 times a week isn't enough to get real results, but that's because you're confusing frequency with focus. Most people waste time in the gym, then assume they need 5 or 6 days a week in order to make progress. If you believe you need endless hours to get strong, you'll never start, you'll never stay consistent, and you'll stay stuck in the same body and mindset another year. But if you learn how to train with intention, 2 to 3 days a week can completely transform your life. I want to tell you a story about, well, me. Back in 2017, we were opening up our third Sasquatch location. There was a lot of work to do. We were finding locations, we were designing equipment, we were getting ready to franchise. We had all this work in front of us, and training was steadily becoming harder and harder for me. I felt like my body was getting beaten down. I just wasn't recovering the way I wanted to. At the time, the people that I trained with, and I trained at Sasquatch, wanted me to train with them 5 to 6 days a week. We run the program 6 days a week, and for the majority of our members at this time, we recommended that they come in 4 to 5 times a week. Well, that's exactly what I did. I wanted to lead by example. And more often than not, I was in the gym at least 5 to 6 hours a week, training really hard, training with some serious intensity. And when I wasn't working quite as much, 80, 90 hours a week, it wasn't as big a deal. But as I started to have to work more and more as we opened up these locations, it just wasn't feasible for me. I was really stressed out. I was really worried that I was going to lose muscle mass. I was worried that I wasn't going to make any more progress. And I decided that I needed to prioritize the people that we were training and the business and the people that depended on us, our coaches, to be able to live and feed their families instead of focusing on my training. So I prescribed myself 3 days a week of training. I was going to train Monday, I was going to train Wednesday, I was going to train Friday. So train, rest, train, and then 2 days of rest. Something pretty crazy started to happen. On the days that I worked out, I found that I had way more energy. Duh. I'm training 3 times a week instead of 5 or 6. Makes sense that I'm going to be a little bit more energetic in these sessions. But here's what I didn't expect was going to happen. Because I was training so intensely on those 3 days and gave myself a full day to recover before I came back to the gym again. Technically, it's 48 hours. So if you think about it, I train on whatever, 10 a.m. on Monday, and then it's 10 a.m. on Wednesday that I train again. So that's 48 hours, right? 47 hours from that training session if I keep it at the same time. So I was getting 2 full days basically to recover before I came in for another session. So I was pushing way harder, but when I came back on Wednesday, I was able to push way harder again. And the same thing on Friday. And this repeated over and over again. And the shocking part was I was training like half the time, but I was getting almost twice the results. I was losing fat faster, I was building muscle faster, and frankly, I was feeling better. I had more energy to give. I was able to keep up with work, was able to keep up with my family, I was able to keep up with everything that was going on at the time, and it was a lot. So by reducing the frequency of training and focusing on intensity instead, I made a much better plan that fit much more congruently with what was going on in my life, and it yielded better results. So after finding this out, I went down this rabbit hole. I started reading anything that I could on training periodizations, on loads, on all these things that could factor in to why this worked for me. Was it central nervous system fatigue? Was my body really recovering muscularly that much better when I didn't train as much? Was I overtraining before? Turns out there's a couple of things, and it's a loaded question, but the gist is this. For the vast majority of working professionals, these are people that aren't just training, eating, and getting massaged and sleeping, I guess. If you're not a professional athlete, if you're not a professional actor that gets a whole team of people that are going to help them make sure they get the most out of their training sessions, and all they need to do is recover because they have T minus 30 days to put on 20 pounds of muscle. If you're not in that boat and you have to work, you have real stress in your life, you have a family, you have kids, you have travel, then less is more. and you need to be able to focus on recovery. This was the key finding. If you train and you train again before you fully recover, you are not getting anything out of that training session. So, recovery, more important than training. Therefore, for all of you out there that are thinking, man, is that really going to be enough to train 2 to 3 days a week? It's not only going to be enough. For the vast majority of you, it's going to be optimal. So at Sasquatch, and again, we've been around for about 12 years. We've worked with a little over 30,000 people. 3 days a week is the magic number. That is the prescription. And there's people that work at Amazon that work 80, 90, 100 hours a week that twice a week is the prescription because they can barely recover session to session after that. So 3 days a week is more than enough. You're going to find that it's actually much better for you. You feel better, you have more energy, you get better results, plus you're able to keep up with your life. So now that you know the truth, let's get into some practical advice on how to make these fewer sessions work for you. Number one, it's not about how often you train, it's about how intentionally you train. We're talking full body, we're talking lots of effort, we're talking showing up with a plan. 2 to 3 focused sessions with meaningful progressions are going to be way more effective than 5 or 6 sessions done haphazardly. It's not about time, it's about focus. Number two, if you want results on 3 days a week, your workouts can't be casual. They have to count. We need compound lifts. We need to track our weights to make sure they're going up session over session. We want to aim for small weekly progress. Remember, we're building strength, not just collecting workouts in our journal. Number three, remember on this plan, recovery becomes your secret weapon. When you train less often, your recovery window becomes huge. So your body actually rebuilds. Sleep, protein, hydration, all these things are going to be paramount to making sure you get the most out of every single session. Treat recovery like part of the program, not a bonus. Number four, your nutrition is going to determine whether those 3 days actually build muscle or just burn your time. You can't out train under eating or inconsistent eating. Dial in protein and calories, and your results will multiply instantly. And last but not least, consistency beats intensity, but consistency with intensity beats absolutely everything. So if you're showing up 3 days a week and you're a beginner and intensity is a little tough for you, that's completely fine. Consistency is going to beat it. But the second you figure out how to be consistent and intense, when you come in, have a plan, work hard, execute it, then you're going to see some tremendous gains. And when you start to take your recovery just as seriously as you start to take your workouts, sky's the limit. So remember, you don't need more days, you just need more intention. You need to train like someone who respects their time and values their strength. 3 days a week is more than enough to get your body feeling strong, confident, and absolutely transform your life if you show up like it matters. Start this week, commit, train with purpose. You're stronger than you think. Now go and prove it. If this video was helpful, watch some of the other stuff that we've got going on, and I know you're going to do great.